Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now today is Sunday, so you know what that means. We're going around the net with all the news you could use in the week that was in credit and finance. So on the docket for today, we have some really interesting topics. We have Apple and the Apple Card in the news again because they're releasing stats on the customer base of the product that we don't normally see from them. We also have two American Express stories. One sees a global refresh of 40 different products coming this year, and we're actually going to take a look at 6 of those products being the Delta American Express line, both business and personal, that have also been refreshed as of this week. So of course, a lot to get to today, so go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, we will lead off with Apple. If you're a frequenter of the show, you know I need very little excuse to talk about Apple, but here we have it. We're talking about the Apple Card, which of course has been in the news as of late because of the breakup between Goldman Sachs and Apple. Now, historically, Apple is not a company that really gives us many details about their products. It's usually like the RAM on the phone, for example. This is what I was reaching for. I don't know why I missed it. The RAM on the phone, for example, you didn't used to disclose how many milliamp hours the battery was. They wouldn't tell us either in basic stuff. And then units sold wasn't really split out, for analysts and investors. You get the point. So Apple Card, though, they have now released stats on the Apple Card that we have from Mac Rumors. So we'll take a look at this. They're a site that I like for my Apple news. Then we will discuss why I think they're doing it. So here you have it. Apple Card users earned more than $1 billion in daily cash last year, which is a lot, but not terribly hard to do when you're talking about having a user base of over 12 million users in the United States. Now, in addition to that, what I found interesting is Apple says that the vast majority of Apple Card users have opted into having their daily cash auto-deposited into a savings account, into the Apple savings account, and nearly 2/3 of users deposit additional funds from a linked bank account. The Apple Card account currently offers 4.5% interest, which is more or less on par with people like Ally. There's some 5% out there, but close enough. In addition to that, almost 30% of Apple Card customers make 2 or more payments per month, and more than 1 million Apple Card users share their Apple Card with their family sharing group. Close to 600,000 users have added spouses, partners, or other trusted adults to their Apple Card. I don't know if that means by an authorized user or not. And then for those with low credit scores who are not initially approved for an Apple Card, Apple has a Path to Apple Card program. According to Apple, 200,000 users have been approved for an Apple Card after enrolling and following the program's personal steps. Again, the full article at Mac Rumors. So that is very interesting. So why would Apple decide to release these very focused stats now? Well, it's probably because, as we've talked about, the big banks, they seem interested in the product, but maybe not so much interested in dealing with Apple, the headache of Apple, or the customer base that comes with the Apple Card. Because, when you think about the customer base, initially, Apple likes to punch upstream with, product pricing and stuff, but they cast such a wide net for the Apple Card because it's basically a way to sell phones. Then they want everyone to buy their phones, that they end up with probably a lot of subprime customers. So what they're saying is, number one, hey, we have the savings account too. That is large because, one, people are adding to it, and all that money they made in Apple Cash, they're also choosing to basically give back to the bank to hold on to, which, presumably the bank would take the savings account and then also take the credit card. So there's that. But more importantly, I think this speaks to the fact that you have Apple doing talking about their customers from a standpoint of like, hey, they're making payments. They're making 2 or more payments. There's also a plan to move them through the pipeline if they don't qualify, bolstering the portfolio more. And they're also bringing people with them in the form of, I'm going to say, authorized users. All of these stats go to make the product itself potentially look more appealing and indirectly potentially answer some concerns that banks who are watching this play out may have of the product. So I think it's well timed for them to kind of release this, I guess. It also might be speaking to them that, hey, they're not really as popular as they think because of amongst banks, because again, all the hoops Apple would make you jump through, the simple fact that, they're not allowed to charge fees, that, all the payments are due at the end of the month, which is unheard of, on and on and on. So that's why I think they're doing it. It's still interesting to look at. Last time we checked in, I think Bloomberg's Mark Gurman had Chase as the front runner, not necessarily from a leak, just because of the existing relationship, which I would generally agree with. As far as Chase has shown, they would step up and take that level of risk as long as they can handle the cross-selling piece. So, of course, we'll keep an eye on it, but you let me know what you think. Is this a little conspiracy theory, or is this a perfect, timely plant in the news, if you will, by Apple to try to drum up some interest maybe in a new home? So I'd love to see your thoughts on that. But someone now looking to refresh their products as we move forward to 2024, someone else looking to refresh their products in 2024 is American Express. So on a Q4 2023 earnings call, Amex executives said they're looking to do just that. So here's the exact quote, then we'll get into it. So in 2024, we expect to exit the year with further momentum compared to the current growth, supported by continued product innovation and our focus on premium value propositions. We currently have plans to refresh around 40 products globally next year. No one talks like that. I don't know why they insist on talking like that, but obviously, the takeaway is the refresh of 40 products globally. Now, again, products doesn't always just include credit cards. There are bank accounts they have and other various lines of business. But if we focus on credit cards, well, then the gold and the platinum come to mind first. Obviously, they have other cards globally, so it's not just stateside. But, I think the gold card, I don't like it, but it is their best earning MR earning card. I think it's due for a refresh and a price hike. And all this, when I say refresh, I mean price hike, and they'll do their same old playbook, which we'll see in a second when we talk about Delta, is just pile in more credits and coupons and then move the annual fee up. I don't care for the business model, but it's a pretty good business model because of the annual fees offset a lot of your costs, and the vendors are offsetting the other perceived value you're giving. So it works. I don't see why they would deviate from that. I do believe the Platinum card will also move up as well. Both of them will get more expensive. The things I think, the green, I think they'll leave alone, honestly, because it still seems like it's their entry level into the MR World card. You still do need one, quote, reasonably priced card, I think. Now, the cashback cards is where I think they should remember that they even exist, honestly. I mean, their cashback is just tough. I mean, the Cash Magnate's still at 1.5x. There's caps on even the 3x card and some of the Blue Cash line. But they did kind of refresh some of those of maybe a year or two ago, so I don't think we'll see anything over there. But I do think if they care more about pushing into deposit account land, which we know they have business checking and they have personal accounts, then it's easier to have credit cards that are free and cash back to cross-sell. I think it's a hard sell, as I said this before, to sit down, open a free checking account, but then, hey, do you want this Platinum card at $700? That feels like a bait and switch. But even then, the products I really think they need to focus on, if they want to, are their deposit accounts. Again, I think Chase and Bank of America and Citi are really good at the cross-sell. American Express, it's always been weird to me. You have to have their credit card first before you can open a checking account. That's how I ended up with the Blue Business Cash, to get that card so I could open the business checking account, which I do have. And it has some good features. It's actually surprisingly hard to find a business checking account with no fees, with a decent user interface. It's just weird to have the tie-in where you have to have the card first, and then before you can get the account. Maybe when it was, pilot program, sure. It's the same with the personal side. Plus, I can't get a personal checking if I have a business checking, which doesn't really make any sense. For the credit card tie-in, I can't redeem cash back as a business owner to my business checking account, which is something I might want to do. I've never liked that, you pay your balance in full on a Blue Business Cash and then they give you the cash credit. That doesn't really help every month, so it kind of keeps you using. It's like Kohl's Cash. You just have to keep redeeming it. Their business checking app, it used to be okay, but they moved everything to Business Blueprint, and it's not as good. I can see the business credit cards in there, but I can't interact with them. I have to go to a separate app. So I gotta say all this not to complain, but when we talk about a global refresh of 40 products, these are some products that I do hope are on the list to get refreshed and updated. I don't think it's all only going to be credit cards. And there's still a lot of room to be had, a lot of improvement to be had for American Express, even not even going on a rant like I normally do. These are just things as a user I would like to see them incorporate in. But of course, let me know what you're looking for in an Amex global refresh as well. But if you were a holder of the Delta cards, well, you might have been looking for a refresh on the Delta end, and we now have that. So 6 Delta cards, everything except for the blue one that was the free one, has been refreshed. Now I'll put the cards on screen as we go, but there's basically the main things that are going on here is the credits and the fees, right? That's, as you would have imagined, the big difference. So again, when we take a look at it here, I'll put the cards on screen, but to highlight the Delta Personal Gold going up, annual fees going up to $150. You are getting a $200 Delta flight credit with $10,000 in spend a year. It used to be $100. You're also getting a $100 Delta Stays credit. That's basically a thing through Delta where you can book like hotels. So in prepaid hotels, you get a $100 credit once per year. Everything else is about the same. Delta Platinum bumps up to $350. You are going to get a $150 Delta Stays credit, a $120 ride share credit, of course, $10 per month. There's still the MQD Boost and Head Start, which is nice if you're going after status. The Delta Reserve goes up to $650, up from $550. It gets a $240 Resi credit, $20 per month. The $120 ride share credit as well, at $10 a month. Of course, it's always had the MQD and MQD Head Start and Boost as well. Now the Delta Business Gold, which is basically the same thing, also goes to $150. You get advertising and shipping as multipliers of 2x back. Same credits, $200 flight credit, $150 stays credit. Delta Business Platinum, same thing, $350. You do get the $120 Resi credit, again, $10 a month, and the $120 ride share credit, $10 a month. Business Delta Reserve, $650. Same deal here, Resi credit, $250 Delta Stays credit, and $120 ride share credit as well. So there's that. The real star of the show in these upgrades, though, is the Companion Pass, which starts on the Platinum and the Reserve in both personal and business. Companion Passes are also, they're gaining more flexibility or optionality because they now work for flights to Alaska, Hawaii, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central America, as well. Before, it was just the 48 connected states, continental United States, I believe. So that is probably the biggest star of the show. Now, the rest of this, as we said, is typical American Express. Once again, I don't even think the credits are bad. It's really just the doling them out over time. But, I mean, it's not the word. We don't understand why they do it, because if they didn't, you'd use the credit 1 or 2 times and you'd be done with it. They want you to, Delta has shown they make billions on this, so they want to keep you using the card. And now that status is harder to get and it's all about how much you spend, it does make more sense to, hey, we'll make the cards a little bit more beneficial with the Head Start and the MQD Boost, but we're going to jack the annual fee a little bit. So I kind of get it. I really think, either you're going to hate this or you're going to look at the Companion Pass and you're going to know, oh, well, now I can use this Companion Pass way easier, way more optionality than I used to, and that could be enough to offset the annual fee hike of $100 in fairness. I haven't priced out flights. I'm sure someone who's much more versed in this will do that, but to me, that is the thing that potentially saves it, is the flexibility of the Companion Pass. So if that doesn't work for you, that doesn't do much for you, then, you're probably going to hate these. But as the whole, kind of know that I don't really care for the credits. Again, just how they're doled out, honestly. I don't care for that. But overall, I mean, I think it could have been worse. $100, not terrible. We kind of knew it was coming, especially when the Marriott Brilliant card punched up to $650. If you go back to the last story, that's also why I think the Platinum will go even higher, and so will the Gold. But again, for me, I think this really comes down to that Companion Pass piece and how you can now value that again. But you only get the Companion Pass starting in year number 2. So if you're about to go out and get these cards, just keep that in mind. The other downside to this is in the past, because I had the Delta Platinum at one point. In the past, Amex is actually giving us a heads up, like the Business Gold card that we talked about last time, last call on that. They give you a heads up that the annual fee is going up, and they used to do a round of like heightened offers. We did not get this time. I just had a few folks send me the story that, oh, hey, it increased. So that is also a little bit annoying that we didn't get the, that benefit of like picking it up at the last call offer and then riding out the annual fee at the old price with the credits in mind. So I don't know how that's going to go, if maybe that'll be a tie-in to the global refresh, and they're kind of trying to crack down and spend less money. Again, just remember they did go through in all the cards and kind of like restructure the family rule, so you really can't backslide from like reserve to platinum. You kind of got to go in sequential order, which again, back to the global refresh story, I think last year they were setting the stage for these refreshes and kind of protecting themselves a little bit more. So we have that to look forward to. But anyways, if nothing else, it makes for interesting news. So let me know if you're a Delta flyer, what you think about these, especially your companion pass valuations. But anyways, guys, that's been the news for this week. So of course, if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel, because we're posting content just like this every single week. And of course, right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance, and every single day over on ProfitableContent.com. Channel's blog, we not only have the latest news stories just like this, we have bank promotions, and we have credit card offers. I think we have most of the Delta cards too, so if you're interested, I definitely go take a look over there, and safe travels if you do. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you very soon this week.